everyone had a happy and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. I'm Alan.
And I'm Steven.
And this will be the last of the 4 factions that we're going to review. So, again, in case this is your first time, we're just 2 good friends and competitive gamers that enjoy playing card games. We plan to play this one a whole heck of a lot, and as such, we've been doing the podcast episodes to promote and kind of gain interest in the game and kind of give our thoughts on competitive gaming in general and, you know, the game as a whole. Hope, like I said, everyone had good holidays. So without any further ado, we're going to be grading these on a 1 to 5 system. 1 is below average, 2 is average, 3 means that you should probably see it played mostly in a faction, maybe some light splashing. 4, kind of moderate splashing, definitely an auto-include in faction. 5, auto-include in a faction, and you're probably going to see quite a few decks across the board running said card. So, let's get into it then. So, go ahead and start us off there, Steven.
Yeah, so we're going to start off with a 0-cost back alley deal. Cost and action, you're going to gain a heat and then gain 4 shards and draw a card. So basically, you're doing Jaco and Ace's Seeker ability.
In calling in favor style with 1 less action.
Yeah, which, really good. Really good, yeah, sure you do gain a heat, right, which was probably kind of like that. When you're comparing calling in favors, it's kind of replacing that extra action cost, but I would say pretty solid with 3 pips, you know.
Just like calling in favors, they're wanting to make sure that you really want that card before you can go into it.
Yeah, I would say early game, very huge, very good to have.
Maybe a 3-3, either Jaco or Goldie, 3-3 orange-purple rush deck, because you're not worried about the big heavy hitter cards tend to be kind of expensive anyway.
True, yeah.
And so you're just looking for your calling in favors and back alley deal to kind of like super rush the momentum. Obviously, you prefer back alley deal. Doesn't matter if you're Goldie or Jaco.
Yeah.
You would prefer back alley deal because it's only 1 action. The heat, even if you're Goldie, the fact that you do gain a heat does suck, but with proper play you can get around it. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that it's 1 action, so you're still accelerating.
I agree. I would take that over calling in favors any day. So, yeah, I would say it's a solid 4.
Yep, same.
Solid 4.
Daring Arrow Border. So 3 cost, a reaction as you approach a grid slot. So that's interesting. So it's... I wonder if approach is prior to the instant window or post
I
instant
believe
window.
it's prior, but I could be wrong.
If you have 3 or fewer cards in your council, exhaust this card. Redirect your delve to approach a grid slot adjacent to your current position.
So you would actually, like, you would basically be doing the redirecting. Like, you would basically be like...
But you would need to have 3 or less cards in your hand.
Yeah, and that'd be interesting. So you'd be kind of, like, tricking your opponent, essentially.
We really got to figure out how redirect works. We haven't done that yet. It's been a busy holiday season. I know last month we said we needed to. We still don't have that knowledge, but... yeah, because now you're doing it from an offensive position too.
Yeah.
So, taps for a shard, all good. 3 presents, good. 5 pips, making it pretty much exclusive property of purple. So, yeah, not bad. I would say 3.
Yeah.
Actually, depends on how redirect works. Because I don't understand redirect, I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
It's average until I know redirect. Because offensively, I'm choosing to do 4 cards if it works the way we originally thought last month. Which would be bad. But if it's replacing the interaction with that card so you don't have to face it at all, then it's 3.
Yeah. I agree. Dodge, 0 cost. As a reaction, as a confront or seek ability begins to resolve, cancel that resolution. So it just like negates the
confront or discover.
Yeah. Wow.
For 0, 2 pips.
2 pips. Wow, that's a 5.
Solid 5.
That's a 5.
Yeah, you want to grab that, especially if you're aggroing, because the last thing you need when you're like pushing hard and fast is to have obstacles in the way.
Yeah, that kind of bypasses that. I like that.
Drowber the Fence. No questions asked. He costs 3. Reaction: after you play a moment, exhaust this card and gain 2 shards.
Wow.
Discovery: shuffle 1 moment from your exile into your commons.
Wow.
4 obstacle, 4 barricade. He taps for a shard, he exhausts for a shard. He has 2 presents, no cipher. So for an agent, he needs to be played. 3 is fair to play. It's not hard like a 4 or 5. With a 4 barricade and 2, 6 is a good one to shoot over. You're never. I mean, if it happens, it's great. You should never really hope that you use the discover ability. But the reaction after you play a moment, gaining 2 shards, is where you want, especially as someone that's plugging fast and hard and needing all the money you can get.
Oh, 100%. I think 100%. This is a solid 4. Solid 4.
Solid 4. Our almighty fun run. Go ahead.
0 cost. As a reaction, after you complete a breach on a commons, gain 3 shards. Hands down a 5. There's
it's
no
listed
picks.
0. There's no way that's a 0. It's got to be like 3
maybe
or 4.
It's 1. I don't know. I feel like maybe that is. Maybe that's like at least 1 pip or something. But
yeah. They didn't list the pips on this one, but yeah.
Well, I'm saying it's 5. I'm giving it a 5 hands down.
Oh, yeah. No, Fun Run is great. It's still a 5 in my book. I'm just curious what pips will end up being.
Right.
Because at this point, we've only had one other card where that didn't happen, and that was an obvious card that should have like some level of pips because it was a really good card.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious.
Yeah, hopefully that is. These are all still in draft format.
Those previews could be because they were the ones that were previewed in the preview deck, so we don't know what its pips are because we haven't seen that part of the preview, so we just know that it's still holding.
True.
Hired Lookout, 1 cost, refund of 1, so that's great. Confront, engaging player may exhaust a card in their back row. If they do not, end the delve. So 0 barricade cost, but 4 presents and a 2 pip. So this is a good defensive card in the sense that it can protect the lane for 1, not take up too much space, and if they do get rid of it, they do pay the 4. You get your 1 back. So
I like it. I put that in the front row of my grid anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Any path I want. Yeah.
Whichever path, I would probably put it. You'd probably want to put it with purple generating their own heat.
Mm-hmm.
Best to put it in commons, because once you start getting 5 or 6 heat, doesn't matter. Your hand's never going to be that high. Your archives are never going to be that big. The biggest thing to do with a high amount of heat is the opponent's going to want to go straight for your deck and go deep and hard into that deck.
Oh
yeah. This seems like a good cause on that.
I agree. Definitely front row of my comments.
I'm only going to put it at a 3 though, because I'm not sure if you need that level of protection if you're aggroing hard. Like, if you care to even put that deck space in, you may need it.
Yeah, I feel like you need to fill it up. You'd have to, but then again, yeah, I'm gonna give it a 4. I'll give it a 4. Jaco and Ace.
Now, which one's Jaco and which one's Ace?
I don't know. I want to say Jaco's the kid and the salamander thing is Ace, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, don't know. Boisterous Troublemakers. So they draw a card. They got your basic 5/10 structure. So the amount of cards you can have in your hand is based off that. So there is the cards we saw that say +2 or +1, they were very clear on that instead of saying yours is now 6 or yours is now 7. Because if they make future Seekers that have an altered one, like a 4 or a 6, because you can make one with like a super Badonkers ability, but you can only have a hand of 3 cards or something like that. It's like, yeah, you only ever have 3 cards, but God, that guy is like freaking beast moding you.
Yeah, every time.
Anyway, reaction as you approach a district, exhaust this card and gain 1 heat. Then you will gain 2 shards and draw a card. So we listed it as 4th place of all the 4 Seekers we've seen. It still holds true that we finally see his current iteration. That's not to say he's weak. It's just that he has to pay the most, so he needs the most deck support around what he's doing to pull off. The others, Goldie being 1, Bopax being 2, and Abnus being 3, each of them can kind of do what they need to do on their own territory with progressively less help from the deck as you move your way up towards 1. But still a good Seeker. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. You know, as we talked about before, in the swim lanes, like they're all neck and neck. But definitely 4th out of the 4 Seekers that we've seen so far. But still up there.
Mm-hmm.
0 cost, not today, play on words. There's a not, and, you know.
With a K in instead of just a basic in.
Yeah, I like that. I like being cheeky. And then there is a reaction. As you discover a moment in a council or commons, archive that moment and draw 1 card. 4 pips. I think it's a solid 3. I think that's good that as you discover a moment in council or commons, right, if you're looking in someone's council or commons, you can just immediately get rid of that thing, right? It could be somebody's calling in favors or somebody else's really good moment cards. And we've seen a lot of really good moment cards out of all the other factions, so I think this would be a solid, you know, card. And it's a net neutral because you're gaining a card as you play that card. So yeah, I like it. But again, 4 pips, you're going to be playing it more in a heavy purple, drawing 1 card.
Or it's the second faction in a Bizarro main.
Yeah. So I would give it 3.
I'd give it a 4 only because there's been some shutdown knockout cards in every faction color.
Sure.
So if I could think of one color like I could care less about any of their moments, then I'd be like, meh. But I can think of at least 2 moments in each faction off the top of my head that need to be canceled. And most of them are like the calling in favor style, where they do something and gain a buku load of money for doing it.
True.
And I feel like seeing that and removing it and keeping your card count even without having to spend any money yourself, I think all those combined to make this a 4. Good old Kryzar the Rat.
Wow,
I think he's more expensive than he was. Yeah, he's gone up in stock there.
Oh yeah,
He went from 2 to 5, just so you know what we're looking at. And he's gone from 3 to 4 Barricade. He has Rush, which means you can play him at instant speed to go straight to Forged.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna look 2. So he went from 3 to 2, so he's still 6. He's just went from 3-3 to 4-2 to make it more easier to grab him if you don't give him into play. But at the same time, you can rush him into play even though he's 5.
Yeah.
He draws a card which is different from gaining a shard, so that was flipped.
Yeah, they flipped that right away.
Now, first one was a reaction in the preview decks. As you approach a district, exhaust this card and stage a card. This one is an instant action, so it has to be during the instant window. During your delve, exhaust this card, so it still needs to be in a delve. And archive 1 card from your council. So you're going to put 1 card from your hand into your archive. Redirect your delve to approach a grid slot adjacent to your current position. Again, we really need to know what redirect does.
Yeah.
But this is better than staging a card.
I
Because
agree.
purple was like the speed to aggro faction from all that we could see and all that we've seen thus far. Staging a card is the last thing you really care to do, even as like a free action. Like, yeah, it gives you some action economy, but it's not helping. I mean, it's indirectly helping you push, but when you're an aggro player, 2-step pushes are the last thing you want to add. 1-step pushes are what you want. Something that I put that into play and I'm immediately pushing in a way.
Yep. And I think Kaiser Rat definitely does that. I'd say a solid 4.
It's a 5 because I'm going to put him at a 5, and it's my hot take. Only because he has rush.
Mm.
And the reason I say that makes him a 5 is because, okay, you've seen my hand, and you know Kaiser's in there. If you come for my hand a second time, I have the ability at instant speed to flush him out on the board.
Sure.
In one of the other 2 lanes that you're not currently attacking. So if I'm offloading him as a secondary color choice, like he's my secondary agent choice, based off the agents we've seen thus far, I would be happy to pick him because of my ability to flush him out fast when he needs to come out. So I think that's great. And the offensive ability he has, no matter what faction you're playing, I guarantee you it's usable. No matter what style you're playing, it's usable depending on how redirect works. So actually I'll 4 him, but if redirect works the way we're thinking now that we're seeing offensive redirect and not defensive redirect, redirect would be the worst thing to put on offensive cards if I had to go through 4 cards instead of 3.
I agree. Yeah.
Defensively, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that would be optimal for defense. I'm making you go through an additional hoop.
Yeah. And his barricade cost did go up as well.
Yes.
From 3 to 4, so
But his presence went down from 3 to 2, so you're still overall paying 6.
yeah.
But they made it much deadlier up front to get to the 2, so I like that. But it also means you want to make sure you can play him, but at the same time, he's rushed, so you're not worried about the 2 biting you in the butt as much.
True.
So I give him a 4. Solid 4.
Okay. Maestro, the Bebop Bofin, 3 shard cost, reaction. As you approach a district, exhaust this card, and you can stage 1 card. 4 barricade, you can exhaust for a shard. It has a cipher. Engaging player steals 1 heat from your pool to their pool.
So it has some heat bleed off. But 4 and 1, you're gonna be happy to pay that. It is good that they're gonna have to take one of your heat off.
Mm.
That's helpful. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think though you won't see this. You'll see this in control because the 4 barricade cost and the ability to gain action priority on staging.
Mm.
Because you can protect this card in a control deck a lot easier. So I see that. You may see it in aggro if you're purple main, but I'm not sure you grab it otherwise, so I'm going to 3 it.
Yeah, I would give it 3. Solid.
Marauders Market. If you have 2 heat or more in your pool, exhaust this card to gain 2 shards. Great. Because you will if you're Jayco and Ace.
Yep.
So this is 2.
Can exhaust it for a card if you want it.
Yeah, you can exhaust it to draw a card. Its presence is 3. 3 pips, great. Because mid-range and control would be buying the hell out of this if it was anything less than 3.
Great.
Because they're going to play a long game, so they'll eventually have 2 or more. But the fact that you can play this in the first turn of the game, your opponent heats you, then you heat yourself, then you play that, and you gain 2 shards immediately that turn.
Yeah.
to pay for itself.
Yeah, that's solid.
Then you buy it. You pay. You start as the first turn player on the second turn, and then you go up 2 from initial cost. Even if they pay the 3, you're up 4 coins to the 3 they spent. You know.
Yeah, you put them at a disadvantage and you at an advantage based on value of 2. I think that's solid.
So yeah, I think this is definitely a 4.
Agreed.
If it was a 2, it would be a 5 because everyone would be running that damn thing.
Oh yeah. Shard cost of 2. Narrow catwalk. Confront. Look at the top card of engaging players' commons. If that card is a moment, archive it. Discover. Look at the top card of engaging players' commons. If that card is a moment, archive it. It's got a barricade cost of 2. And it's got a presence of 3. Not bad with 2 pips. It's a 2 cost. What are your first impressions of this?
Control players will love it. It's 2 pips. They can buy into it as a secondary. Because of that, it'll be a 4.
I agree.
It's niche for the aggro player. It's maybe even niche for the... I want to downgrade it to a 3, but it will be more prevalent as a splash, maybe less prevalent in color.
I agree. Definitely 4 for sure with that.
Because blue control, green control, and like orange control, like longer runner decks, I could see all of them wanting that to just add extra things, either because it's archiving it or because it's removing threats.
True.
Orabo Plaza. 1 cost, 1 obstacle, or 1 barricade with a confront of if you have 2 or more in your pool heat, you can steal 1 from your engaged player.
That's
pool.
impressive.
I mean, if you catch the ball, then one of their members is out and one of your guys comes back in. That's a 2-point swing.
Yeah.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
Yep.
Discovery, if you have 2 or more in your pool, steal 1 from your opponents. It's the same thing on Discovery as Confront. 3 presence, 1 barricade,
5.
1 cost. It does have 5 pips. It is a 4 because only because it's a 5 and it won't see ubiquitous play outside of that. Because you have to be primary purple. Like there's no way around it. So 4 is the highest that you can see something like this, and without it being in other decks outside of purple. So,
True.
But tip of the hat to that. It's a really solid 1-drop. Like if I'm an aggro player, I still play that because like
every time,
it's stealing resources from my opponent.
Yep.
While benefiting me with resources simultaneously. It's like win-win.
Silkline Shuttle, 2 cost, reaction. After this card is forged, swap it with another card in your grid. So really it's shifting, but
no, it's even better. Yeah. Swap. Swap.
I like it.
Draws a card.
4 presence and 2 pips. I would say it's a solid 4. You could use that for a lot.
You will. You'll
swap
see
out
it.
with.
You'll see it in a moderate amount of decks with it being 2 pips. So I'll give it a 4. I feel like it's not as great as I'd want it to be in purple again, but I see that as being tagged by other people left and right.
Great.
They put smooth handoff
Under the purples.
Interesting. So there's smooth handoff. That was supposed to be in the orange ones. We were kind of curious about the fact we didn't see smooth handoff. Now we've seen it.
And it hasn't changed. So
It doesn't have pips listed either. I think that just might have been because of the preview. Maybe that new card that does exactly what smooth handoff is the new version. They just reworded it, gave it a new name.
Yeah, you're right, probably.
Street Parade, 4 cost. So this is a hefty boy. Rush, so it can go in at instant speed, straight to forged. 3 barricade, 5, so it's their eye inspectors. It doesn't do anything else. It's got a 4 cost, so unless you're Bizarro maining it, it's going to be purple only.
I mean, it's really more of a 3 in my eyes, but I could see it being a 4 with Bizarro.
I would say 4 because of Rush. Because you can at instant speed impugn 3 costs to protect an agent.
Protect an agent or bounce.
Because we know how much 3 obstacle or 3 barricade surprises can derail your run.
True, especially when you only have 3 shards or less. You're not really going to be too apt at saying okay to that. So yeah, I guess I would agree with you on that one.
And because it's in the color of purple, so I can fun run your commons. Gain 3. What was 3, right, for fun run? Mm-hmm. I have 1. It puts me at 4. Then you try to retaliate, and now I have the 4 thanks to fun run to flush this in off turn in instant speed and stop your
fun run from triggering.
Or well, not your fun run, but you're just stopping your run wherever lane you're choosing.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah, really.
I think it deserves a 4, but it can't go higher than that. But I definitely see potential with that.
Yeah. 0 cost, tenacity. Reaction: as a player engages a card in the grid or in your grid, that card gets +3 presence until the engagement ends. Wow. So this is almost like a buff.
They were very clear that engage includes both confront and discover.
Makes sense. +3 presence, I would say it's a solid 5 card.
1 pip.
I think very
control players are
gonna. Yeah, because if I'm kind of just glass cannoning or trying to kill an agent and I only have just enough to kill it, that would be the difference between killing him and keeping him alive. So. I have to say it's a 5. That's a good card to have.
I agree. It's going to see a lot of use.
Yeah.
The Dragon's Horde. So
2 cost. I think it is 2.
Yeah, it's a 2. While this card is forged, each adjacent card gets +1 forged and unforged with a card draw. So that's all the same. Let's see if it maintained a 3 presence. It has. Only 1 pip. Anyone can buy into it. This is a 5. It's a solid card. The fact that it generates money and it gives its ability regardless if it's exhausted or not, so you could be gaining the money without losing the ability, is a solid. It's easily portable and it's very cheap. Again, it pays for itself if played correctly. You play it, generate 1, turn goes over. You're now the first turn player. You generate another, you're now at 0 cost, and your opponent's going to need to pay 3 to just get rid of it.
True.
And it protects presence of all things forged and unforged, which is the huge thing. Because if you have an agent face down, it's still going to be harder for that person to grab. So
True.
Win.
I agree.
Solid 5.
Solid 5. Shard cost of 1, turn up the heat. Reaction: after you complete a breach on a player's district, they gain 1 heat. So this is after the breach is completed, so bear in mind you would only get the heat after you have discovered either their commons, council, or archives. But needless to say, depending on how far they up on heat, that might save you quite a few shards if you were actually trying to up their heat to begin with. So
you might see this and go, why would I want to pay 1 to up their heat? Well, when it's between paying 1 or paying 5 to get them to 5.
Yeah. So I think if you're being very aggro and you're using this as an aggro amplifier or really to turn the heat up on your opponent, then
also Goldie, whether it's control or not, might want this because it's adding extra heat on them.
True.
Which allows her to go off for 3. So I'm going to put this at a 4 because I can see multiple decks that might grab it.
Yeah, I agree. I put
with
it
a 1
as a
pip.
4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 pip, solid.
Vapor X, Holomancer for hire. 2 cost with an instant ability. Exhaust this card and lose 1 shard. Swap 2 other cards in your grid. Anywhere.
That's very good.
That's very good. He's got a 3 barricade, 1 with a cipher on presence. and he exhausts for a shard. But again, if you're exhausting him for a shard, you're losing on his ability, so you gotta be careful about that. His cipher is engaged player swaps a card in their front row with a card in their back row. That is a very terrible cipher. This guy is now a 3.
Yeah.
Because 1 with that cipher, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it can suck, don't get me wrong, and it can be edge cases, but...
Yeah, more often than not, that's gonna...
If you got to choose the card...
Then maybe that would be...
Yeah, it would be huge. It would be a good cipher. Like, I get to pick... Even if it was a 50-50, you get to pick the card in the front row, but I get to pick the card in the back row so I can pop that agent out from behind all its protections.
True.
Then it'd be good because... But, like, and I'm sorry for re-ranting on this if you're watching this in sequence and this is not your first time. But because this could be someone's first time... Anytime it says you get to pick, you're going to pick the best possible thing for you. Anytime your opponent gets to pick a card effect off of a card that you have played, they're going to pick what's best for them, which is usually the worst for you. It still might be helpful, but it's the worst of every option, usually.
Agreed.
So the fact that they're getting to pick the front card and the back card, all in that, you're more than likely a good player is more than likely going to be fine with it, and you're not going to get much advantage from it.
Good.
Especially for a cost of only 1 to score that agent.
I agree. Yeah, it's not that great, honestly.
Yes, I understand it's 2, so 2 to 1. If it was like 1-3,
yeah,
that poor cipher would be okay to me.
Yeah, I agree. But it's not. Yeah, I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I'm not either. That's a 3. I mean, the ability is good enough on its own that you're gonna want him in play at 3-1 anyway. So, and there's enough decks that I would say would use that swapping ability to help out. So he makes a 3 because of his ability. But if he didn't have this ability, or this ability was even slightly less on par than what it is, I think it would be a 2 at that point. It's average otherwise. But the fact that you could swap instead of switch is enough to pull him up from average to slightly above average.
Yeah, I agree. Cost of 1, we got Wall Wizard. Refund 1 as this card's presence is broken. Gain 1 shard, so a lot of good value there. Reaction after you complete a breach on a district, exhaust this card and gain 2 shards. Pretty huge. Presence of 4. 2 pips only. I think this is a 5. Yeah. I think that's hands down.
You gotta pay really 4. I get my money back, and while
I'm basically wrecking everything. Yeah,
I'm gaining 2.
Yeah, let's go. All right.
It doesn't even have like the conditioner of a district. It doesn't have the conditioner
of like a certain district. It's just like any
district, or I was gonna say, or a condition of the successfulness of the breach, like. If you breach twice or something like that, like they've done nothing to limit that card. You just literally have to do what you're trying to do anyway, which is complete a delve.
Yeah. So hands down 5. No brainer.
Oh wait. That's even better. You don't have to complete a delve. You just complete the breach, which means you make it in
one of the grid slots, right?
No, I think a breach is right before you hit the deck, the hand, or the archives.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
But that's better because that gives you the money before you find the agent.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
This is definitely a 5 now.
Yeah, 100%.
If it, well, no, after you complete a breach, we're gonna go back up to fun run. Let's see how fun runs work because that.
It says after you complete a breach on fun run. After you complete a breach on commons. So yeah, it wouldn't be a 5.
Well, it'd still be a 5, but it would have been a definite easy 5 otherwise.
Yeah,
after you complete a breach on commons. Okay,
yeah.
okay. Because if you got the money prior to an agent, that would have been
broken. Yeah.
Oh, that's not the one. We're probably close to the end at this point. I would imagine.
We're getting close.
With W, gotta be. Only 2 pips, that would have been in like every deck at that point if it got it before agents.
Yeah, that's a 5.
But it's still a 5 because enough people will buy that because that's
hands down
1 for 2. Like, if you're doing it right, with a refund of 1 later on when your opponent hates you enough.
Yeah.
Well, now we're to Y.
Yowling Tezu.
So it's a 1 cost. When it's confronted, you gain heat. Engaging player gains a heat. So it's a 1-for-1 trade. Discover, if this card is in your grid, you can archive it and the engaging player gains 2 heat.
Wow.
1 obstacle cost, 3 presence, 1 pip. This became a 5 because I could see control players and Goldie players and mid-range players all playing it. I'm not even positive you would play it as an aggro player, but I could see that it could be helpful to game the, to just be going racing to the bottom together.
Yep, up in the ante every time. Yeah, and even if it's, a 1-for-1 on that, like, there's plenty of cards that can reduce heat or increase heat, depending on what you're trying to play. So I think solid, very solid card.
I have a feeling this is the last one because I think quotes supersede Z. So unless everything else has quotations as its starter, this will be our last card.
All right, 2 shard cost. Spider Rebeck, Dragon Horde's Pit Boss. So there's some lore there.
Yeah,
Dragon
he's
Horde's
the pit boss for the Dragon Horde there.
That's interesting.
Right.
While this card is forged, each other card in your grid gets +1 presence. Discover if this card is in your grid, exhaust a forged card in engaged player's grid. 3 barricade costs. You can exhaust it to draw a card if you want. Presence of 2. I would give this, in my opinion, a solid 4. You're raising the health of all your cards. You're basically a better...
Besides itself, because it says each other card. So it doesn't become a 3/3. He still stays at 3/2.
Yeah.
Nothing anything wrong with that. That's an important distinction.
Yeah.
He doesn't tribal himself.
Yeah. I think it's very good. I think it's very much... I would say it's at least a 4, only because you have the barricade cost of 3. You're upping the health of all your other creatures, or all your other things out on the grid.
If he gained a shard, I would say 4. I'm going to put him at a 3 because he draws a card.
Yeah.
And he has no protective for his 2 other than getting him into play, which at 2 you can do. Don't get me wrong, guys, but like if he gets discovered, exhaust a forged card and engage player's grid doesn't.
Yeah, it's not really giving you the value.
Because they're gonna pay 2 and be happy for it. So I would have preferred to discover to do something like give them heat.
Yeah, or something like that. Yeah,
would have been more helpful. Even if it was just gain 1 heat, they gain 1 heat for discovering it.
Yeah,
that would have been more than enough to 4 or 5 this card. But
I would agree.
It's not bad. It's 3. I'd put it 3 in the average category.
I could agree with that. Yeah, 3.
But yeah, that finishes out our purples. I guess they've had less because that felt like a lot less cards than we've seen.
Like a lot less.
But then again, like you had all these stacks of cards in the preview deck, as you can kind of see their thickness there, and then you had like purple. So that's how it kind of works. So, well, again, we wish you had a happy holidays and look forward to seeing you guys in the new year.
Yep. See you in the new year, everyone.
You want to say bye to everyone? Say bye-bye.